Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. Today we are going to completely reframe how we think about self-improvement. Because let's be honest, it is incredibly easy to look at the massive project of getting our lives together and just feel entirely overwhelmed by the sheer scale of it all, right? It feels like we have to climb this sudden, massive mountain. But as we'll see today, those monumental shifts, they don't happen all at once. They happen right here, right now, in the tiny, simple choices we make every single day.
To kick things off, we really have to recognize a hard, fundamental truth. We are all forced to choose between two very distinct types of pain. First up, you have the pain of action. This one is blunt, it is right in your face, and yes, it absolutely forces you to grow. When we suffer through sharpening our skills or forcing ourselves to be proactive, we're voluntarily accepting that struggle. We're taking it on the chin to build strength. And that voluntary acceptance, it gives our suffering real meaning. But then, on the flip side, there is the pain of inaction. Now, this is a lingering, totally directionless pain where we are just endlessly running from growth. It leaves us unfulfilled, and it completely lacks meaning and purpose. Look, the pain is inevitable either way. It's the purpose behind it that we actually get to choose.
Section 1. The Traps of Transformation. We're going to look at some counterintuitive pitfalls on your journey.
Okay, so the first massive trap is that overwhelming urge to tell everyone your plans. You know the feeling, right? You suddenly decide you're going to hit the gym every day or read a book a week, and you immediately want to announce it to the world. But here's the catch. When you tell people and they give you praise, you get this warm, fuzzy dopamine hit. You've just been generously rewarded for inaction. You gained all the social praise without actually doing any of the hard work. And honestly, it's genuinely destructive to your progress. It is so much better to let your results be something people discover rather than something you just announce.
Which really brings up a critical question. Who are you actually doing this for? A lot of people fall into this insecure fantasy of hiding away. They think they need to isolate themselves up on a mountain somewhere, self-improve in a total bubble, and only return to society as this superior, unrecognizable version of themselves, just to impress everyone else. But life is happening right now. We don't need to isolate ourselves out of some twisted sense of self-hatred. We need to improve simply because it feels good to feel good. We have to do it for ourselves.
Moving on to Section 2, the myth of readiness. This is all about why you absolutely shouldn't wait for the perfect moment.
The crucial point here lies in the actual definition of transformation. Transformation is something that happens exclusively through action. It doesn't care about the weather outside, it doesn't care about your fleeting levels of motivation, and it certainly doesn't care about how much sleep you got last night. The feeling of being perfectly ready, it almost never arrives. If we sit around waiting for it, we're going to be waiting forever. We have to accept that we must start long before we feel perfectly ready.
Just think about all the things you simply don't need in order to get started. You don't need new shoes. You don't need to build the ultimate perfect productivity system. You don't even need to remember what that one specific health guru said on that YouTube short you lost. Actually, scratch that. We usually need less information to start, not more. We have to stop endlessly gathering data, prove to ourselves that we can take action right now, today, and just figure out all those little details along the way.
Because think about this reality for a second. Life is a train that never stops. We can't pause time. We're always moving, and we are inevitably going to end up at a destination. Making substantial progress isn't about packing up and climbing Mount Everest all at once. It's simply about bringing a really sharp consciousness to our daily decisions. When we feel that internal conflict about doing the right thing, it's really just about making a tiny course correction on a moving train. It's choosing the slightly better option to ensure we're staying on the right trajectory.
All right, Section 3, Hacking Your Environment. Let's talk about greasing the grooves for success. Look, our environment shapes our mindset and our behavior far more than our willpower ever could. So we have to manipulate it. We need to start setting what we can call traps of growth. The goal is simple. We must make doing what's good for us incredibly easy and doing what's bad for us highly inconvenient. For example, if you want to start taking your vitamins every day, do not hide them away in a cupboard. Leave them sitting out directly on display right next to the exact place where you normally drink water. You have to make it effortless.
Let's break down a very specific real-world example of this. Say you want to hit the gym more, but you're constantly fighting a caffeine addiction. Instead of trying to use sheer willpower to quit, you can actually hack it to force yourself to work out. First, you just wait for your usual 2 p.m. craving for a pick-me-up. Second, instead of grabbing that third cup of coffee, swap it for a scoop of pre-workout. Your brain is demanding a boost, so you give it one. Third, that pre-workout triggers an automatic chain reaction. Your body suddenly has all this energy, so you put on your gym shoes and you go. You've successfully used your own impulses to hack your behavior.
The big takeaway here is that you absolutely have to do it your way. You have to work with what you've got. Take a good look at your life and figure out how to complement your own little insanities. Work with your weird procrastination habits. Accommodate your intrusive thoughts and your wonderfully freakish brain. We need to stop trying to adopt some generic, one-size-fits-all system and instead find the specific, environmental hacks that complement our unique personal failures.
Which brings us to Section 4, the payoff of progress. This is all about transcending mediocrity.
Just take a second and notice how much better it actually feels to live in a reality where you've consistently been who you want to be. When we really pay attention, we realize that doing the right thing literally feels better in the present moment. Our very existence just feels better. And when that realization finally hits you, man, all those exhausting white-knuckle tactics, the willpower, the desperate mental tricks, they become completely obsolete because we simply no longer want to go back to the way things were.
But to stay in this positive reality, we have to actively choose what is helpful over what is destructive. Once things start going well, it is incredibly easy for this destructive little voice of regret to creep in. We start getting bitter about wasted time or wishing we had started younger. You have to stay on top of that voice. It is completely useless. Instead, what is truly helpful is rejoicing and being grateful. Rejoice that all those previous failed mindsets and messy tactics finally led you to this exact moment, the moment that actually worked.
Seneca hit the nail on the head centuries ago when he said, "The secret of change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but by building the new." This powerful idea perfectly captures exactly why we shouldn't dwell on our past inaction or regret the time we've lost. All of our energy is required for right now. We have to take everything we have and focus it solely on building our new reality.
So knowing that the train of life is constantly moving, and knowing that genuine transformation requires voluntarily stepping into the discomfort of progress, I am going to leave you with this one vital question. Which pain will you choose today? Will it be the empty pain of inaction or the meaningful pain of action? The choice, as always, is entirely yours.